Hello everybody, we are back today for a little bit of trigonometry intro, trigonometry or trig for short. Hopefully today goes shorter, it's a little quicker, and your assignment will be, I think I have, I don't know, six questions for you. Maybe I might even cut it down to 4. So a little shorter day today, kind of get you back on track with just 4 short homework problems. Okay, so trigonometry, there are technically 6 trig functions, but there's 3 that we will be working with. We will be working with ones that you've all heard of already: sine, cosine, and tangent. Now, you probably remember the mnemonic device for sine is so, for cosine is ca, and for tangent is toa. Now, these are not the ones I'm underlining in yellow right now, those are not mathematical terms. They are just devices to help us remember the relationship between the sides of the triangle. The mathematical terms are sine, it's spelled like that, but it's sin on your calculator, but we pronounce it sine. Cosine, again, short for cos, but it's cosine. And tangent, which is tan for short. Okay, a few things about trigonometry, sine, cosine, tangent, or SOHCAHTOA. It only works for right triangles. Well, how do we know if it's a right triangle? We have to have a right angle on it. Another thing about trig is it's for sides. It is for sides. Not angles. Now, when I say not angles, you'll see what I mean eventually, I think. But it's for finding side lengths, but we do in terms of angles. You'll see what I mean in our first example. Next up, we never use trig on the right angle. So what that means is I will never say the sine of this angle. I will only say the sine of my other 2 angles. Trig functions are not to be used on right angles, only the other 2 angles of a triangle. Okay, so I have one example, one that you're going to try, and that's it for today. So it says, find sine, cosine, and tangent for angle A. So the first thing we need to do is locate where angle A is. That's at the top, right up here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list out 3 letters for angle A. O, A, H. The O stands for, I'll space this out a little bit more, actually, I lied. How do I want to do this? O stands for opposite. A stands for adjacent. And H stands for hypotenuse. So, in terms of my purple angle, angle A up here, in terms of this angle, in order to figure out which angle is opposite of angle A, all you do is draw a straight line across. So what's opposite? Draw a line across. Opposite of my angle is 16. Next up, the word for adjacent. Adjacent means if I told you to go to the adjacent room, it'd be to go to the room next door. So what is next door to angle A? Well, you might be saying, well, Mr. Adler, there are actually 2 that are right next to angle A. Which one do I pick? Well, we got to be a little intuitive here. You may see that my H stands for hypotenuse. Now, hypotenuse means across from the right angle. So my side that's across from the right angle is 20, which means the only thing left for my adjacent side must be 12. Okay, so now to find the sine of angle A, we just write sin A. Sine of A is how we pronounce that. We use the acronym SO. So what that means is I'm going to pick my opposite value and put it over my hypotenuse. So let's look here. What did I say was opposite? Opposite value, that was 16. So I'm going to put 16 over my H value. My H value, we said, was 20. So my sine is 16 over 20. Now, we can technically reduce that fraction and bring it down to divide them both by 4 and get 4 over 5. But for now, I'm more concerned with, can you find the relationship between the two sides? 16 over 20 is acceptable right now. Okay, next up, let's find, we found cosine. Now, let's find, we found sine. Now let's find the cosine of angle A, the cosine of A. So, cosine is ka, so ka toa. So, just like before, cosine of A is going to equal something over something. So what goes on top? Cosine is ka. So the first thing I'm going to find is my adjacent value. So what was my adjacent value? My adjacent value was 12. Okay. Next up, I need to find out what my hypotenuse was. My hypotenuse, we said, was 20. Just like before, we can divide these both by 4. We can reduce the fraction. Divide by 4, we will get 3 over 5. But again, I am more concerned with, can we figure out what this ratio is? Figure out how to get 12 over 20. Okay, last up we have tangent. I'm going to do tangent to, boy, I'm running out of room. I will erase this and this and this. We will do the tangent of angle A right here. So TOA is opposite over hypotenuse. So TOA opposite over hypotenuse. So again, I'm going to have a fraction. What's my opposite value? Opposite value is 16. So it's right here. And then what's my A value? What's my adjacent value? Adjacent value, we said, was 12. 16 over 12. And again, you can reduce it down to 4/3. But for now, I just want you to be able to figure out what that relationship is. Okay, your turn now. Now, here was our triangle. I'll redraw it for you. And it was 12, 16, 20. A, B, C, I believe. Yep. Okay, so now I wanted you to find sine, cosine, tangent of angle C. So it's the same process, but now instead of doing this angle up here, I want you to do angle C, which is down here. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time. I'm going to let you list out O, A, H for angle C. You should do that for every problem. For every problem you get, list out O, A, H. Then from there, I want you to find sine, cosine, and tangent. So once you list out OAH, find sine, cosine of C, sine of C, cosine of C, and tangent of C. Okay, so I'm going to shut up for about 5 seconds. Hopefully you will pause this and go from there. Okay. So in terms of angle C, what is opposite? We draw a straight line across. 12 is opposite. Which one is adjacent? Well, like we said before, there are two sides that are right next to angle C. So which one's adjacent? Is it 16 or 20? How do we figure out? Well, the hypotenuse is always going to be across from the right angle. Here's the right angle. So my hypotenuse here would be 20, meaning the only side that's left over for the adjacent value is 16. Okay, moving along, sine is sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So what is our opposite value? 12 over our hypotenuse is 20. Again, we could reduce the fraction down to, what would it be? Divide them both by 4. We would get 3 over 5. But I am more concerned with, did you get 12 over 20? Cosine, the mnemonic device, is ka. In other words, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine equals, what's our adjacent value? A is 16 over hypotenuse is 20. This reduces down to 4 over 5, but again, more concerned with, did you get 16 over 20? Last but not least, tangent is TOA. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we'll do this in red. So tangent is opposite value. My opposite value, TOA, is 12 over my adjacent value. A value is 16. Again, I can reduce that, divide both numbers by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. You would get tangent is 3 over 4. But right now I'm more concerned with, can you get 12 over 16? If you get any of the highlighted answers for these, I'm okay with it. Yeah, that's going to be it for today. I lied. I'm going to give you 6 homework problems, but each one is only going to be finding one trig function. So I'm going to give you 6 different triangles, and for each triangle, you're going to have to find one trig